Judges 12 1-15, through the Bible. Chapter 12. Theme, Jealousy of Epfhraim. Judges Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon. Ephraim is punished. And the men of Ephraim gathered themselves together, and went northward, and said unto Jephthah, Wherefore passadst thou over to fight against the children of Ammon, and didst not call us to go with thee? We will burn thine house upon thee with fire. And Jephthah said unto them, I and my people were at great strife with the children of Ammon. And when I called you, ye delivered me not out of their hands. And when I saw that ye delivered me not, I put my life in my hands, and passed over against the children of Ammon, and the Lord delivered them into my hand. Wherefore then are ye come up unto me this day, to fight against me? Judges 12 1-3. We have seen that the men of Ephraim also quarreled with Gideon, 8:1, when he didn't summon them to help him rout the Midianites. Now in a hostile way, they demanded that Jephthah give them the reason why he did not ask for their help in the battle. The jealousy of Ephraim was a real infection that led to a defection. Later on, when the kingdom is divided into north and south, you will find out that Ephraim is the center of all of the rebellion. And it goes back to their jealousy. There is jealousy in the church today. It is one of our greatest problems. Paul said, Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves. Philippians 2:3. Strife and vainglory can be vanity and envy. These are two things that cause problems in churches today. When I hear some person in a church complain that it is not being run the way he thinks it should be, I wonder if he is jealous. When I find someone who is opposing the preacher all of the time, I suspect there is jealousy behind it. Jealousy was the problem here. Jephthah had to protect himself. The men of Ephraim were going to burn his house down right over his head. Then Jephthah gathered together all the men of Gilead, and fought with Ephraim. And the men of Gilead smote Ephraim, because they said, Ye Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites, and among the Manassites. And the Gileadites took the passages of Jordan before the Ephraimites. And it was so that when those Ephraimites which were escaped said, Let me go over, that the men of Gilead said unto him, Art thou an Ephraimite? If he said, Nay, then said they unto him, Say now Shibboleth. And he said Sibboleth, for he could not frame to pronounce it right. Then they took him, and slew him at the passages of Jordan. And there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 42,000. Judges 12 4-6. The Gileadites were successful in defeating the Ephraimites, and they seized the Jordan ford so that the Ephraimites could not escape. Then they selected a password that would be difficult to pronounce because it contained a consonant which was not in the Ephraimite dialect. The word was Shibboleth. If a person's accent was not just right when he pronounced this word, he was in trouble. It is difficult for us to say certain words. Shibboleth was a word that was difficult for the Ephraimites to say because they could not put the H in it. And Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then died Jephthah the Gileadite, and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. Judges 12:7. Jephthah's death ended 6 eventful years. Ibzan, the 10th judge. The next 3 judges mentioned were practically zeros. They did nothing. Well, they did something, but they did not judge Israel as they should have done. And after him Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. And he had 30 sons, and 30 daughters, whom he sent abroad, and took in 30 daughters from abroad for his sons. And he judged Israel 7 years. Then died Ibzan, and was buried at Bethlehem. Judges 12 8-10. This judge is from Bethlehem. Bethlehem was one of the cities of Judah in the south. Ibzan had 30 sons and 30 daughters. I would have thought that he would have worked at getting his daughters husbands, instead of getting wives for his sons. I suppose that in the 7 years that he was judge, he did not have time to get his daughters husbands too. He did not have time to judge Israel either. In other words, Ibzan was a man who gave all of his time to his family. There is nothing wrong with that, but it was not what he was called to do. There is a great deal of nonsense abroad today about the subject of responsibility. I once heard the story of a preacher, who was on his way to a speaking engagement, and his little son wanted to talk with him. He sat down and talked to his son and missed his speaking engagement. Many people applauded him for that. Well, my friend, that man was breaking an engagement and also he was spoiling a child. You can show love and interest in your children without breaking an engagement. There is a time when certain things have to be put first. I think he would have better served the boy if he had told him, "Your daddy has a speaking engagement and that is important." You would want your daddy to keep that appointment, wouldn't you? I think the little fellow would have agreed. Then the father could have continued, "Now when I return, you and I will talk these things over, or tomorrow we can have a chat." That would have done more for the boy than what the father did. All he did was make a spoiled brat out of the youngster, as I see it. I know I sound like a square, but I do not approve of Judge Ibzan's actions. He didn't do anything. He is a picture of mediocrity, to be sure. Elon, the 11th judge, and after him Elon, a Zebulunite, judged Israel, and he judged Israel 10 years. And Elon the Zebulunite died, and was buried in Elon in the country of Zebulun, Judges 12:11-12. These two verses tell us all that we know about Elon. He did nothing, he didn't even have a large family. Apparently all that he did was twiddle his thumbs. Abdon, the 12th judge, and after him Abdon the son of Hillel, a Parathonite, judged Israel, and he had 40 sons and 30 nephews, that rode on 70 colts, and he judged Israel 8 years. And Abdon the son of Hillel the Parathonite died, and was buried in Pirathon in the land of Epfraim, in the mount of the Amalekites, Judges 12:13-15. Abdon did nothing except out Yair. Talk about keeping up with the Jones family. As we have seen in chapter 10, Yair had 30 sons, but Abdon had 40 sons and 30 nephews besides. It must have been quite a sight, to see that man ride out of town with his sons and nephews. You would have seen a parade of jaguars, mustangs, pintos, and cougars like you had never seen before. They call the little donkey the mockingbird, or lark of the desert because he can really bray. Just think of all of those braying donkeys. That is all Abdon contributed. That isn't much, friend. We have quickly passed over the last 3 judges, Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon, because apparently they did nothing constructive as judges.